Part 24. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 231. In the World Public Screen Chat Box. Many Sacred Tree Masters are also constantly uploading related videos. Although there is no benefit, but the Sacred Tree Masters responsible for the live broadcast are originally weak. When I came to the extremely dangerous Super Nightmare level dungeon, I basically came with the mentality of picking up the slack and joining in the fun. Of course, they are responsible for live broadcasting related videos, and they can also gain a lot of popularity. Maybe in the future, the trading interface will be helpful in promoting the superpowers you have grown. Therefore, in the maze, the picture of the Dark Knight Alliance being defeated was also transmitted to the video. Seeing this scene, many Sacred Tree Masters couldn't help but laugh and commented one after another. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that the Dark Knight Alliance has deceived countless people, including today. I don't know which guild those handsome Sacred Tree Masters belong to, but I want to join them too. I know these Sacred Tree Masters, they are from Scene Chen Pavilion. Star Pavilion. What kind of guild is this? Why have I never heard of it before? At this time, someone popularized science and said, Scene Chen Pavilion is a guild with a special profession and is very niche. Their guild's profession is much less rare than the assassins of the Dark Knight Alliance. Therefore, the size of this guild may not even have 100 people, or even no more than 50. But because the Sacred Tree Masters they accept are all top-notch Sacred Tree Masters, and their professions are all their own, the resources can also be shared. Therefore, even with a small number of people, a fairly powerful combat team can be formed. After hearing the Star Pavilion's request that only astrologers can join, most of the Sacred Tree Masters cancelled the idea. Some people secretly sighed. No wonder Scene Chen Pavilion dares to provoke such a behemoth as the Dark Knight Alliance. As a small guild, when they control a certain scale, they are not afraid of others targeting them. The Dark Knight Alliance's effective method is to send a group of assassins to target the Sacred Tree Masters of other guilds. However, there are only so many people in Scene Chen Pavilion, and each of them comes and goes without a trace, and their strength is even more powerful. If you send your subordinates rashly, you may be giving others experience points and equipment. Also, because the Star Pavilion has very high requirements for members, ordinary Sacred Tree Masters cannot be added at all. There is no need to worry about expanding the recruitment, and there is no need to worry about provoking the Dark Knight Alliance, which will affect its recruitment. That's why you dare to be so bold. For a while. Because Scene Chen Pavilion directly cheated the Dark Knight Alliance. Using star teleportation, the stars moved, and the positions of the Dark Knight Alliance members and the Star Pavilion were exchanged. It can be said that it has become famous recently. The Dark Knight Alliance just wanted to rise. Was suppressed in an instant. And Yes Face was so angry that he was so angry. When he returned to the golden treasure chest room, almost everyone he looked at had a strong murderous intent in his eyes. It seemed that everyone feels as if they have offended him. However, except for the Star Pavilion, there are still only a few in the Divine Tree Master Guild who dare to provoke the Dark Knight Alliance. Therefore, after finally summoning all the members, Dark Knight plans to repeat the old trick and continue to the gold level treasure chest. Gold chest room. Yunzong Jun couldn't help but admired. President, I am really impressed by the star shifting skill you just performed. Chen Huo, Yu, and others also cast admiring glances at Yu Suanji. Even Anya dares to provoke him. As expected of their president. Come explore now. Yu Suanji said solemnly, we are probably the only ones who dare to provoke Anya's guild. Even if someone wants to harm the Dark Knight Alliance, at this time, they will not take action again. Instead, let the Dark Knight Alliance come in and fight us to the death, so that they can stand by and reap the benefits. Let's set up the star array first, and wait for the idiot Anya to come over. Then we'll get rid of him first, and then we'll loot all the good things around here as soon as possible. Everyone nodded. At this moment, Yoon Zongjun's expression suddenly changed and he said, "It seems there are no treasures here." What? Everyone else showed doubts. Generally speaking, after passing through that long corridor and entering such a special room, shouldn't you be able to get some rewards? How can you kill them all the way first? It's like playing a very boring adventure game. Not even a reward is set. Generally speaking, the output of conquering the Super Nightmare level copy should not only be that little. Yu Suanji's face looked a little solemn. After a long silence, he slowly said, "Have you ever thought about the possibility? Maybe, before we arrived, there were already divine tree masters who had swept the area. The maze outside was so big, but no monsters appeared, and no risks were encountered until entering the room at the end of the long corridor. Don't you think this place looks like a dungeon that has been conquered by the divine tree master?" The words just fell. The members of Xin Chen Pavilion who heard Yu Suanji all showed expressions of extreme surprise, as if they had seen a ghost. "President, are you kidding?" When this copy of the Abyss was opened, everyone rushed in almost at the same time. Although we arrived relatively late, if someone came in early, others would know about it. Yu Suanji did not answer this sentence. In fact, he was not sure whether his guess was correct. It was just a guess, but, in this maze, various phenomena that were not in line with the common sense of the copy made you mysterious thoughts can only be directed towards this room. At this moment, a teleporting light curtain fell. The Divine Tree Master of the Dark Knight Alliance had already appeared in the room of the golden treasure chest. The next second, the star formation, headed towards this group of people, enveloped the past. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 232. Damn it! The moment it was teleported, Anya immediately cursed. He had actually calculated that Yu Xian would lay down a star formation the moment it fell. But he didn't expect that the power of this formation would be so powerful. So powerful. The endless light of stars falls down like nothing. Even if it blends into the night, it cannot completely avoid these injuries. The power of the stars itself is a higher level attribute. Even if it blends into the night, even with the physical immunity effect, he could not ignore the huge damage caused by the falling stars. Soon, the dark night was once again shrouded in darkness. The next moment, his figure immediately left the outside of the star array. However, those few, the Dark Knight killer who was able to come with him died in the fall of the stars. When Dark Knight saw the members of his guild dying, his face was so gloomy that he seemed to be dripping with water. He just wanted to move, but found that he was surrounded. "Do you want to use the teleportation array to call all the members of your guild?" Yu Suanji held a feather fan and looked down at the Dark Knight. "My formation is designed to deal with your teleportation by bringing your subordinates here. Now, you're the only one here. Even with your strength, a few of us working together can't do anything to defeat you, but there is still no problem in preventing you from using the teleportation array and bringing the allies behind you." And Yes' eyes narrowed slightly. It is indeed a fish mystery. Good calculation. Yu Suanji cupped his hands and smiled. Grant. Grant. When passing through the whirlpool of reincarnation, Enya asked his subordinates to stand beside him and successfully protected him through the corridor to the vicinity of the gold-level treasure chest. Then, he used the teleportation array to pick them up. This means that Enya cannot move all the members to the room opposite the corridor at the first time. Only a few can come. Yu Suanji sets up a star formation, which is enough to kill all the members except Enya. Die. With only Enya left, he has to focus on dealing with the entire star pavilion. Naturally, he cannot spare any means to use the teleportation ability. "What do you want?" Enya asked in a cold voice. Just a few of you can't kill me. Of course I know this. Yu Suanji put away his feather fan, calmed down his playful expression, and then looked forward. In fact, up to now, it is difficult for us to leave here. What do you mean? Enya squinted his eyes and noticed that the surrounding situation was not optimistic. If Yu Suanji could leave, why would he set up a star formation here just to prevent him from coming? You'll know after you try it. Yu Suanji sighed. Enya moved forward for a certain distance. However, only 3 seconds passed, his body returned to its original position. What happened? Enya frowned. He didn't believe in evil anymore. Streams of ink-colored air emerged from his body. Enya turned into a shadow and rushed towards the passage on the opposite side of the room at a faster speed. The result, the same something happened. Even though he had traveled a greater distance, it only took 3 seconds for the dark night to reappear at its original location. No need to keep trying. If you can't pass here within 3 seconds, all your efforts will be in vain. Even if your speed is not enough to cross this corridor, then we may be trapped here. Yu Suanji sighed and said. Enya suddenly sneered. This room should contain items that can be used to get out. But when I came here, there was nothing here. I'm afraid you have already obtained the key props, and then want to use me to get out of here. Hearing this, Yu Suanji immediately sneered. If I get the key props, will I still need you? Forget it, believe it or not. When we came to this room, there was nothing here. Enya narrowed his eyes slightly. You mean, after exploring the super nightmare level dungeon for such a long time, there is not even any profit? Don't you think those places in front look weird? Yu Suanji asked directly. Enya was not a fool. He thought about it for a moment. The maze outside is so big that not even a single monster or treasure box has appeared. It is not a strange thing if they don't appear here. However, it doesn't conform to the common sense of dungeons. Or maybe, could someone else have logged in first? So what are you going to do now? Enya took a deep breath and asked in a deep voice. Yu Suanji smiled and said, there is only one way now, that is, you claim to cooperate with me. You killed my subordinates and now you want me to cooperate with you? Enya sneered. Yu Suanji shook his head. No, it's not cooperation, it's just a claim. If we don't do this, people outside will just wait for us to fight to the death. Even if they had their way, they wouldn't come in. Only by recruiting enough sacred tree masters to enter here together and join forces can we solve the problem. Enya didn't speak and was silent for a moment. He seemed to be thinking. Finally, he took a deep look at Yu Suanji and said, okay, I don't want to stay in this ghost place either. World public screen. Someone from Scene Chen Pavilion suddenly sent a video. Everyone opened the screen. I discovered that Yu Suanji and Enya were exploring this dungeon together. Suddenly, the whole place exploded. How could they still not understand that Enya was cooperating with Yu Suanji? In this way, even if we wait until the end of time, we won't be able to reap the benefits. If these two guys join forces, I'm afraid they won't be able to reap all the benefits of the dungeon very quickly. Ever since, the sacred tree masters who were still outside used all their magical powers to reach the room with the golden treasure chest. Yu Suanji looked at the figures entering here one after another and showed a cheerful smile. Now, everyone is a grasshopper on the same rope. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 233. Yu Suanji is quite interesting. Lu Shu also saw the scene happening on the field through the street lamp wick left in the golden treasure chest room. To be precise, he knew more exactly what happened in the maze than other sacred tree masters. including what Yu Suanji said to Anya and the methods he used. In this world, there are still some sacred tree masters that should not be underestimated. Lu Shu couldn't help but sigh. Human wisdom is often the most powerful weapon. Yu Suanji pulled all the sacred tree masters into the room with the golden treasure chest. There were many benefits. Once he came, he wouldn't no longer need to be afraid of the threat of the Dark Knight. With so many people around, the Dark Knight Alliance cannot easily attack him even if they transfer all the guild members. Secondly, as long as you enter the gold-level treasure chest, you will basically fall into reincarnation. In the illusion, everyone can't get out even if they want to, even if they use the teleportation array. In this way, everyone must concentrate their efforts to break through the confinement of this maze. For Yu Suanji, there is no chance of escape, it will only be bigger. I'm just afraid that this room won't be able to trap them for too long. Lu Shu secretly thought in his heart. Although the illusion of reincarnation is very powerful, there are so many people on the opposite side. With so many sacred tree masters united, they can really find a way to break through the illusion. This means that Lu Shu's movements must be faster. Otherwise, these people will catch up. Next, Lu Shu's eyes turned to the collection panel. Teeth of Reincarnation. Collection degree, 35%. After this period of exploration, Lu Shu almost rummaged through all the nearby platinum-level treasure chests. However, the collection degree is only about 1/3. We still have to conquer the more difficult diamond-level treasure chests. With the help of Samsara Fox, Lu Shu's strategy has made rapid progress. Boom! Ahead, there was a sound of the door being opened. At this moment, the whirlpool of reincarnation no longer poses any threat to Lu Shu. As the door to the diamond treasure chest is opened, suddenly, an extremely angry voice came from inside. Ridiculous intruder! I didn't expect you to come to this place. But then, this will become something you regret for the rest of your life. Lu Shu looked towards the palace through his white eyes. But he saw a god and demon holding a flute and as big as a mountain, with several ancient beasts living around him. These beasts, seen with the naked eye, are much more powerful than the monsters outside the maze. There are some ancient beasts that spit out the power of stars. Interesting. Lu Shu's eyes narrowed. Outside the Palace of Reincarnation, all the strange beasts appeared. But now people appeared. From the beginning, Lu Shu had been wondering what the reincarnation was in the copy of the Abyss of Reincarnation. You know. Before, the monsters projected by the Gate of Reincarnation all had the characteristics of civilization. But in the real Abyss of Reincarnation, the characteristics of civilization have become extremely rare. They are all ferocious beasts scattered everywhere. Lu Shu gradually wondered whether the Abyss was projecting scenes of prehistoric civilization in the Grey World. And the man in black holding a flute was an ancient and special profession, taming. Beast Master. The next second, a monster panel popped up in front of Lu Shu's eyes. Reincarnation Silhouette. Diamond Level Beast Tamer. Category, Shadow of Reincarnation. Danger Coefficient, SS. Perception Range, 3000 meters. Power, 5200. Speed, 4150. Defense, 5320. Skills, Reincarnation Silhouette, Return of All Beasts, Abyss Amplification, Beast Blood Boiling, The Power of Totem, Triple Amplification, Violent Beasts. Description, they are beast tamers from the ancient times. They keep company with the most dangerous beasts in the wilderness and master the power of ancient totems. However, appearing in the form of reincarnation projections, with the increase of the abyss, they will become an extremely difficult enemy. Come on, my child. Tear them apart. The Taoist beast tamer roared angrily. The monsters around him made all kinds of strange noises and rushed towards Lu Shu. Hee hee. Lu Shu smiled and said, I would like to see which one is more powerful, your beast or my pet. The meaning of this sentence was immediately conveyed to the hearts of every pet. All pets felt Lu Shu's heart. Those pairs of pupils showed a militant meaning. Similar professions are also about controlling pets. How could it fail? Lu Shu didn't need to say more. Pikachu instantly copied several of Dragonman's strongest skills. Yuamai possessed Dragonman's body and chose the strongest combat power of the pet army. Tianquan the hidden dragon spread its wings and flew high into the sky, causing bursts of thunder. The little white fox lurked in the void, like an assassin, ready to activate the ability of the dark fruit at any time. The black hole of the dark fruit is no better than the properties of reincarnation. Worse, it can still play a sufficient role in dealing with these reincarnation silhouettes. As for the reincarnation fox, there is no need to say more. Solving these reincarnation silhouettes is originally the strongest point of the reincarnation fox. The pair of reincarnation pupils, just glancing back slightly, many of the projections of the ancient beasts that were watched could not even move, and stood directly on the spot. Boom! On the field, there was an explosion of frenzy immediately. Seventh Heaven. Divine Dragon Beast and Pikachu, at the same time, used the attack method of Divine Fire. The endless flames swept away towards the surrounding ferocious beasts. The projections of countless ancient wild beasts suddenly turned into bubbles and dispersed. However, the trend of monstrous Divine Fire continued unabated. After killing all the projections in an instant, he swept towards the beast-taming Taoist. No. The Taoist beast tamer's eyes turned red. He saw countless ferocious beasts dying in the sea of fire. The abyss aura on his body became more and more violent, and his expression gradually lost his rationality. I'll let you die here. The next second, a prompt appeared in front of Lu Shu's eyes. The beast-taming Taoist activated the power of totem and summoned ancient ferocious beasts on a large scale. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 234. The next second. On the field, various light curtains rendered the hall full of splendor. From the light curtain, the shadows of thousands of ferocious beasts came out, and the roar of the beast tide was deafening. The Taoist beast tamer communicated with the ancient totems and summoned the ancient beast tide from the power of time. As the light curtain continues to emerge, the number of beasts is increasing. In the blink of an eye, the entire hall was covered. The power of reincarnation. Lu Shu's eyes moved slightly. He immediately realized that it was not that the Taoist beast tamer really summoned so many ferocious beasts. It was just that from the power of reincarnation, he recreated the scene of the beast tide. It creates a huge pressure on the enemy. To untie the bell, you must tie the bell. If you want to deal with the monster like a sea of ink in front of you, you must first deal with the beast-taming Taoist. Thinking of this, Lu Shu immediately faced the large army of pets around him, to conduct. Pikachu, copy the skills of Samsara Fox. Samsara Fox, use the Samsara Eye technique to control the beast-taming Taoist first. Little White Fox, Dragon Beast, Azure Hidden Dragon. You are responsible for covering Pikachu and Samsara Fox, and destroying the monsters next to them. We directly use mental attacks to eliminate the beast-taming Taoist. The large forces immediately launched their own actions. Among them, Lu Shu also activated resonance with the Samsara Fox. He copied the Samsara Eye technique. This kind of pupil technique can make the opponent fall into the illusion of reincarnation. If the level is high enough, it is not a problem to make the opponent die directly. Lu Shu felt the power of the Samsara Eye technique, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. Only when you resonate with the Samsara Fox in person and experience the power of these eyes can you know how powerful the Samsara Eye technique is. The next second, Lu Shu he said sternly, use all your skills to attack the beast tamer. Dragon Beast immediately used 7 heavens, and the flames from heaven seemed to fall to the earth, sweeping across the entire hall. All the nearby reincarnation beasts died in the fire. The space-time python and the space-time bat came out from the shadows, but it was intercepted by the little white fox in the air. The azure hidden dragon kept making ferocious roars, and any monster that heard its roar shrank back and was so frightened that it was difficult to move. However, the monsters in the light curtain, but they are still emerging. It is unimaginable how endless monsters these beasts will be. The power of reincarnation can turn illusions into reality, which is why this attribute is so high level. Lu Shu did not choose to directly go forward and kill the beast tamer because he will constantly summon ferocious beasts, so that your pet army will be submerged in the beast tide, making it difficult to escape. The best way is to directly let Pikachu, Samsara the fox teamed up and used the mental attack of the illusion to directly kill the beast tamer. The surrounding pet army was responsible for covering up to prevent other monsters from interrupting the attack. Humblebug. The Taoist beast tamer roared angrily. His eyes when he looked at Lu Shu were full of killing intent. However, that voice was just a bluff, used to embolden his courage. The Taoist beast tamer has already felt the crisis of death. Pikachu, reincarnation fox, follow Lu Shu to launch the Samsara Eye technique. It is conceivable that any sacred tree master will have a hard time surviving an attack of this level. Kill them. The Taoist beast tamer roared hysterically. Around him, light screens kept emerging. Those monsters rushed towards Lu Shu as if they didn't care about their lives. They must kill them before successfully launching the reincarnation eye technique. Late. Lu Shu said calmly, at this level, you are not worthy of using my Xuxian sword. The next second, 100 reincarnation foxes and 100 Pikachus, the pupils emitted a strange light. Immediately afterwards, the nearby whirlpool of reincarnation suddenly twisted crazily. But that whirlpool was not directed at Lu Shu, nor at the pet army, but at the Taoist beast tamer. No. Impossible. The Taoist beast tamer's voice was full of fear, and he looked at Lu Shu with incredible eyes. You despicable intruders! How is it possible? How can you use the power of reincarnation? As the whirlpool of reincarnation continues to erode the body of the Taoist beast tamer. Die! Lu Shu's indifferent tone seemed to have pronounced the fate of the Taoist beast tamer. The next second, the Taoist beast tamer was completely swallowed up in the whirlpool. The surrounding ferocious beasts turned into phantoms and disappeared into the air. After the summoner died, these summoned ferocious beasts are just projections of reincarnation. They are not real life forms, and naturally they will not stay here anymore. After killing the beast-taming Taoist, Lu Shu unlocked the synthesis root of this monster, and instantly obtained 100 high-level reincarnation fragments. To synthesize an animal tamer, 1000 advanced reincarnation fragments are needed. Lu Shu opened the warehouse and found that he still had more than 5000 high-level reincarnation fragments that were unused. After all, I have conquered all the monsters along the way and killed some of the monsters, but they have not been synthesized immediately. The beast-taming Taoist has the ability to summon ferocious beasts, and can be used as an elite monster to fuse with his own monster army. Of course, the ability to summon monsters does not require too many, just one is enough. No matter how much, it will still be meaningless if quantitative changes cannot lead to qualitative changes. Synthesize it. Lu Shu said silently in his heart. The next second, the beast tamer walked out from the light curtain summoned by the monster. However, the way it looked at Lu Shu had changed from that of an enemy to that of a serving master. After all, it was a monster he summoned. Next, Lu Shu found a relatively powerful monster and fused it with the beast-taming Taoist. Soon, after the fusion was successful, there were more monsters in the Monster Legion. A summoner who summons the silhouette of reincarnation. It can be said that it has increased a lot of combat power. It's time to open the treasure chest. Lu Shu's eyes fell on the diamond treasure box in the room. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 235. Do you want to open the diamond-level reincarnation treasure chest? Lu Shu immediately chose turn on. With a burst of bright light, it burst out from the treasure box. Soon, a scepter in the gray vortex slowly emerged from the treasure chest. The whole body carries a strong aura of reincarnation. At the same time, in front of Lu Shu, the panel information of this item appeared. Reincarnation Scepter. Category, Weapon. Grade, Holy. Artifact, Attack Power at 10,000, Puncture at 1,250, Critical Hit Rate at 80%, Reincarnation Ignore at 100%. Skills. Control Reincarnation. You have the ability to control the attributes of reincarnation and can use the power of reincarnation. Reincarnation Illusion. Your mental power communicates with the reincarnation scepter to create illusions, making the opponent fall into your illusions and unable to extricate themselves. Reincarnation Field. Summons a reincarnation field, which strengthens all reincarnation-related skills, and comes with the illusion field formation. Another sacred weapon. Lu Shu's eyes suddenly lit up. The last time he obtained a holy weapon was a long time ago. The holy sword that specifically killed demons gave Lu Shu the confidence to break through the abyss-level dungeon. However, this holy sword of reincarnation, the weapon is not as simple as an exclusive weapon. It can transform its own attributes into the attributes of reincarnation. Simply put, as long as it holds the scepter of reincarnation, Lu Shu can activate skills related to the attributes of reincarnation. For any sacred tree for a master, this is a very powerful weapon. By summoning the realm of reincarnation, my reincarnation fox can also get certain effect bonuses. Lu Shu played with the scepter of reincarnation for a while, and couldn't help but tisk twice. He was quite satisfied with this holy weapon. When he opened the panel, Lu Shu unexpectedly discovered that the collection progress of the reincarnation profession had reached 165 points. After getting the scepter, the progress actually increased a lot. This shows that it is much faster to open the diamond-level treasure chest. Maybe, I don't need to be obsessed with platinum-level treasure chests. Open the diamond treasure chest directly to get weapons of the same level. Moreover, it has great benefits in speeding up the progress of unlocking reincarnation professions. Only after my reincarnation profession is unlocked can the scepter truly unlock its power. Lu Shu thought secretly in his heart. The reincarnation scepter is obviously used for the reincarnation profession. If he only uses it with the reincarnation fox or spiritual power, it can be said to be killing a chicken with a sledgehammer. Next, Lu Shu continues to conquer other areas. Diamond level copy. At this moment, a surprising voice suddenly came from the wick of the street lamp left behind. Have you noticed that the number of nearby samsara vortexes seems to have decreased a lot? Lu Shu's ears twitched slightly. This conversation came from the Divine Tree Master outside the maze. They were originally trapped outside the silver-level treasure chest room, and they were stuck outside because they could not pass through the vortex of reincarnation. But now, Lu Shu saw their actions from the wick left in the gold-level treasure chest. Came here. Wrong. They were able to come here not because they found a solution, but because of the vortex of reincarnation outside, and their numbers suddenly became thinner. Lu Shu left the wicks of street lanterns in many places. Anyway, there are many of them, and they can be produced from time to time. Of course, such a dangerous copy is a waste of time. Through perception, Lu Shu unexpectedly discovered that in most parts of the maze, the number of reincarnation vortexes is indeed reduced. All these changes only started to happen after I obtained the reincarnation scepter and opened the diamond treasure chest. Could it be that Does all this have anything to do with me getting the treasure chest? Lu Shu showed a slightly surprised expression. The diamond-level treasure chest is already a particularly high-level treasure chest in the Samsara maze. Above it, there is probably only the reward for killing the boss of the Samsara abyss, the Lord of Samsara, and opening the king's treasure box. The talent is higher than the diamond-level treasure chest. I seem to understand. The treasure chest in this maze is connected to the entire abyss of reincarnation. If the treasure box in the maze is obtained by the Divine Tree Master, it will be equivalent to dividing the magnetic field of the abyss. The number of nearby samsara vortexes will naturally decrease. After I deal with the boss, the whirlpool of reincarnation in this place will completely disappear and become a safe area. However, the reduction of the whirlpool of reincarnation is originally a good thing, which means that the dungeon area is safer. But it will be easier for other sacred tree masters to come to the core area of the dungeon. If I kill the boss next, this is not a good thing for me. Lu Shu continued to be lost in thought. Although the matter of grabbing monsters has not happened to me, from the verbal criticisms of various masters in the chat box, it can be known that there are some sacred tree masters who specialize in stealing monsters secretly. The so-called monster grabbing means that the Divine Tree Master Guild specially went to attack a certain dungeon, but someone learned the information and quietly followed it. Wait until the opponent is about to kill the boss, and then take action immediately to give the boss the last blow and get the highest reward. Commonly known as grabbing monsters. This phenomenon often occurs among sacred tree masters, and some guilds have even been born that are specifically responsible for grabbing monsters. It's really disgusting. After all, it's hard to guard against a villain. Well, in that case, let the guardian of the diamond-level treasure chest play with you. Lu Shu left a teleportation array on the spot. The next second, the Taoist beast tamer led the army of reincarnation behind him and stationed in this treasure box room. In order to be more secure, Lu Shu not only called the Taoist tamer come here, the Lord of the Netherworld and the souls of hundreds of sacred tree masters are all called out. He also specially asked the pet army, including a small white fox and the reincarnation fox, to stay here and be responsible for supporting the monster army at any time. With this, with the pupil skills of the reincarnation fox and the elusiveness of the little white fox, even if these sacred tree masters join forces, they may not be able to compete with this monster army. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 236. Maze. Near the Platinum Chest. Yu Suanji and others walk side by side with the large troops of the Divine Tree Master. When we arrived at this place, some reincarnation monsters had already appeared. The area in the Platinum Chest room is very large, and there are also reincarnation bats hidden in the void. This kind of monster is difficult to deal with. On the contrary, they have become enemies and obstacles for the sacred tree master guilds behind. Of course, although these scattered monsters can cause unexpected attacks, they can hardly pose a threat to top powerhouses such as Anya and Yusuanji. There are no ordinary people among the sacred tree masters who can come here. President, what do you think of the current situation? In Xin Chen Pavilion, Yun Zongjun was frowning all the way, and suddenly turned his head to look at Yu Suanji. You think that the monsters around here are too weak, and the energy field is fading, right? Yu Suanji smiled, but he spoke in the guild channel. In other words, of the people here, only the internal members of Xin Chen Pavilion could see what Yu Suanji said. His actions immediately attracted the attention of others. Did Yu Suanji discover something? Therefore, he chose to speak on the guild channel instead of saying it directly, for fear that others would hear. Xin Chen Pavilion recruits all-star magicians, proper insiders, and basically everyone in the guild. There will be no moles, so there is nothing wrong with speaking directly in the channel. President, did you find anything? Ayu immediately raised the questions in her mind. I noticed that deep in this maze, the power of the stars was still moving forward. Yu Suanji spoke in the guild channel in the past. I was not sure whether this star power came from the divine tree master or the magnetic field of the abyss itself. But now, it is basically certain that this star power comes from the divine tree master, and the other party has conquered the depths of the maze. What? Everyone in the star pavilion was shocked. Before coming down, Yu Suanji once said that he sensed a star power appearing in the abyss. Moreover, it was bigger than himself. Everyone thought that this was the magnetic field of the stars. After all, how can there be anyone in the divine tree game who is more powerful in the power of stars than the president of the star pavilion, Yu Suanji? But as we continue to go deeper into the maze and explore, it can be said that Yu Suanji's induction of this power is getting stronger and stronger. It is also confirmed that this star power comes from the divine tree master. Besides, my most fundamental judgment actually comes from this copy. Under normal circumstances, monsters will appear in the abyss dungeon, or they will face the threats posed by the natural magnetic field in the abyss. But the reincarnation bat that appeared just now made me realize that there should be monsters in this place. The reason why they appear so rarely is not because there are few monsters here, but because many of them have been killed by other sacred tree masters. Yu Suanji's speculation made the members of Xin Chen Pavilion fall into hard thinking. Who is it that can conquer such a long distance before all the sacred tree masters? Yu Suanji smiled and said, however, this may not be a bad thing for us. If it were the original strategy, the maze's reincarnation vortex, magnetic field, and monsters lurking in the dark would definitely be a huge threat to us. But since that person is walking in front of us, it means that we no longer need to face the threat of reincarnation monsters, especially elite-level monsters. Elite-level monsters generally guard important places. For example, treasure chest rooms at various levels. From the silver area, to the gold area, to the platinum area, they all need to pass the test of the treasure box room before they can open the passage and continue moving forward. Kill the monsters killed are either stronger or more. But if there is a mysterious master to open the way in front, Xin Chen Pavilion will not have to face this danger. To be precise, other guilds think so too. Even Anyet is planning how to grab monsters. After all, if they didn't encounter any danger along the way, wouldn't they be able to go to the boss area smoothly? When the melee breaks out, it'll be up to them to see who can grab the boss. The final blow. Ah! At this moment, a scream suddenly came from the front. Everyone's expression suddenly changed. He's from the Dark Knight Alliance. Their assassin was exploring the way ahead and suddenly died. Look, there are a lot of monsters ahead. The faces of the sacred tree masters present changed. They immediately rushed in the direction of the screams. In fact, the distance where this man died was not very far away. It was in the main hall in front of him. President. In Xin Chen Pavilion, the eyes of other friends immediately fell on Yu Suanji. Yu Suanji frowned. Don't be afraid, go and have a look. Following the footsteps of the large army. When a group of sacred tree masters stepped into it, they saw a large army of monsters appearing in the palace. A monster appears. Everyone was stunned. Everyone in Xin Chen Pavilion couldn't help but cast their eyes on Yu Suanji. Didn't it mean that someone had already opened the way in front? Why did these monsters appear again? This is different from what was promised. Ah! What a slap in the face. Yu Suanji was silent for a moment, frowned and said, that's strange, this should be the only way to pass. If you want to move forward, you must first pass the test of this level. However, the power of the stars I felt was inside the palace. According to Yu Suanji's guess, under normal circumstances, this place should have been conquered by the sacred tree master in front. Unless, that person has never been here at all. Or, he sensed someone coming from behind, so he deliberately without conducting a strategy first. Could it be that Yusuanji's judgment was wrong? It was too late for everyone to think too much. At this moment, summoning light curtains lit up above everyone's heads. The Taoist beast tamer summoned a large number of monsters. The beast tide moved towards these sacred tree masters and killed them. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 237. Oops. Quickly organize a defensive formation. Damn it. There were no monsters just now. Why are they all suddenly coming to kill them now? What a ghost. The sacred tree masters on the field began to curse, and each used the fruit's power to resist the surrounding monsters. However, when various Taoist spells, talismans, and killing formations were unfolded, many people discovered that these skills seemed to be less useful against the monsters in front of them. Yusuanji raised his hand to summon a star, trying to suppress it. As a result, vicious beasts continued to emerge from the surrounding light curtain. The light of the star had no choice but to deal with it. He aimed at the direction of the beast tide and blasted it. Dark Knight's face didn't look very good at the moment. His Dark Knight fruit's superpower was more focused on assassinating a group of people. Against this kind of group battle, the effect was much worse. The use of Dark Knight domain also, this is not what Dark Knight wants. The consumption of mental power by the skill is even more terrifying. If all the skills are used to deal with monsters, what can be used to guard against the Divine Tree Master? The reputation of the Dark Knight Alliance is not an ordinary one recently. Without saving any life-saving means, I always feel like there is a knife hanging behind my back, and I feel uncomfortable in front, back, left and right. Have you noticed that these monsters are very similar to the elite monsters we encountered outside the maze? Among the crowd, someone suddenly shouted. Dark Knight's eyes moved slightly, and he said coldly, I asked these monsters, why are they retreating? It turns out that we just moved to the rear to move reinforcements. Very good. These monsters will all die in my hands today. Everyone couldn't help but roll their eyes at Dark Knight. Before, the Dark Knight Alliance only joined forces with Fenjiun Guild to barely fight against these elite monsters. Now they are arrogantly saying that they will take care of these monsters. Come on. If it works, why are they still hiding behind them? Yusuanji and the others looked thoughtful. Xin Chen Pavilion is far away and belongs to the later batch. Wait until the monsters summoned by Lu Shu retreat. They arrived at the scene later. Therefore, they missed the opportunity to see the monsters. Now, other sacred tree masters actually said that these monsters had appeared outside the maze before. This made Yusuanji feel a little strange. Monsters in the Grey World actually have human thinking patterns. When encountering an enemy they cannot defeat, they choose to retreat to their teammates to join up and fight on more familiar territory. I had never heard of it before. President, be careful. Just when Yusuanji started thinking about how to break the situation, behind him, Ayu suddenly reminded loudly. Snort. Yusuanji also felt the murderous intention behind him, and immediately summoned a starlight curtain to block this fatal blow. Dang, dang, dang. A grey long knife came from the shadow to assassinate, but it hit the fish. The star shield around Suanji did not cause any damage. Stars fall. Yusuanji summoned a screen of starlight with his backhand, fell down, and blasted the enemies behind him wildly. Boom. The bright starlight exploded instantly. If there are any monsters left in place, they will have the attribute of reincarnation, but also to die in the bright light of stars. However, but the shadow did not stay where it was at all. Seeing that the attack failed, it immediately retreated towards the rear, and by the way escaped Yusuanji's star's fall. Dark shadow. Yusuanji frowned. This monster didn't look like a monster from the abyss of reincarnation. It looked more like a member of the Dark Knight Alliance. However, Yu Suanji noticed his attack and was mostly immune to the opponent's reincarnation attribute. He felt in his heart, my doubts have been alleviated a bit. Although the painting style is a little different, they all have the attribute of reincarnation, which is the monster of the abyss of reincarnation. This guy. Yu Suanji frowned. Everyone in Xin Chen Pavilion also came over immediately. This enemy is a bit cunning. Yun Zongjun looked at the black shadow and said in a deep voice, it doesn't feel like a monster from the grey world to me, but more like facing a sacred tree master. Yu next to her nodded. It feels like the Dark Knight is standing in front of me. You should be careful when dealing with him. This guy not only has the ability of shadow, but also his methods are quite weird. We are now in the depths of the abyss of reincarnation, and it is not surprising that the monsters we encounter have human combat experience. Yu Suanji just increased the difficulty of the dungeon, taking into account Haiying's combat experience. After all, it is not strange that some monsters have the instinct to fight. This is not exclusive to humans. It's just. Yu Suanji always feels in his heart, these monsters gave him a very strange feeling, not like ordinary grey monsters at all. But no matter how much he thought about it, he couldn't think of the reason, so he could only deal with it. At this moment, in the distance, an yes helpless voice came. Xin Chen Pavilion, come here and cover it with firepower. There are too many of these monsters and we can't deal with them. Yu Suanji quickly turned around, only to find that there was a dense swarm of beasts all around, and the enemy seemed to have no end in sight. He couldn't help but feel his scalp numb. Why are there so many monsters? There is a summoner there that I need to kill first to stop the beast tide, but now there are too many enemies and I can't get through it at all. Anya said anxiously for the first time. He was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot. Good. Yu Suanji was about to go there. At this time, the black shadow suddenly launched an attack on Yu Suanji. Everyone in Xin Chen Pavilion was not watching. Yun Zongjun, Yu, Chen Huo and others took action one after another. But at this moment, in the void, ghost monsters wrapped in chains suddenly came to kill them. The positions of everyone in Xin Chen Pavilion were separated. The attack came so suddenly that even Yu Suanji didn't even react, and the team was defeated. At this moment, the black shadow's blade slashed towards Yu Suanji's neck. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 238. Not good. Yu Suanji felt nervous. Being swept away by this sudden attack, he could only be forced to stay away. But in this way, he was further away from the large army of the Divine Tree Master. This monster actually knows my combat intentions and plans. Yu Suanji frowned. The master's moves are not as brilliant as he imagined. Those fancy moves are just a showpiece. They may be somewhat effective against ordinary sacred tree masters, but when you really face a sacred tree master, you have to attack where the opponent is least good at. To put it simply, it means to make the opponent very uncomfortable. The black shadow in front of him gave Yu Suanji this feeling. Uncomfortable. It was really too uncomfortable. The opponent always saw through him. The next intention was to target Yu Suanji in advance and block Yu Suanji's route of action. The beast tide was about to break through the defense line of the Divine Tree Master. At this moment, among the crowd, a huge Buddha's voice suddenly shook the entire hall. Moo. I saw a monk wearing cassocks, spitting out a mantra from his mouth, which turned into rolling thunder and swept across all directions. All the monsters killed from the reincarnation were suppressed under the sound of Buddha. Several surprises appeared in the crowd. The sound of calling turns out to be someone from the ancient Buddha guild. They finally took action. Who are these people? Don't you know? In addition to Fenjiun Guild, Ancient Buddha Guild is also a very powerful guild, somewhat similar to Sien Chen Pavilion. It recruits extremely powerful sacred tree masters and has specific professional requirements, that is Buddhism. However, the scale of the ancient Buddha Guild is very large, and it also benefits from the number of sacred tree masters who have unlocked the Buddhist profession. Therefore, when the Buddha's sound vibrates, it can cause a very powerful attack on the enemy. Unexpectedly, this group of people also came to the abyss of reincarnation. I never noticed it before. Some people say that the ancient Buddha Guild has always been very low-key, but I feel that they use their powers to block other people's attention. Only then did everyone turn their attention to the ancient Buddha Guild. They were all secretly shocked. No one knows when these old bald donkeys caught up with the large army of divine tree masters. It's like it appeared out of thin air. But in fact, the ancient Buddha Guild has always been there, but its presence is very low, so low that it is like the power of invisibility, which can automatically be ignored by others. This kind of power is extremely terrifying, because it does not confuse other people's perception, but prevents others from producing correct perceptions, and even thinks that this is a normal thing. It can only be said that the ability of the ancient Buddha Guild is really unusual. The abyss of reincarnation. From the other corner, Lu Shu had seen everything that happened on the field through the wicks of street lamps, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. Interesting. The Ancient Buddhist Association. I don't know if you can withstand the attack of the beast tide. The next second, following Lu Shu's thought, all the beasts swept towards the members of the Ancient Buddha Guild. Dear donors, please give me a helping hand to keep these beasts at bay. Sakyamuni, the president of the Ancient Buddha Guild, said. Others came over one after another. At this juncture, everyone needs to use the group damage skills of these bald donkeys to suppress the terrifying beast tide. Otherwise, if someone else continues to kill them so endlessly, the defense line will no longer be able to hold, and the fight will fall into chaos, and the one who will suffer will definitely be the Divine Tree Master. At this moment, traces of space fluctuations appeared in the void. Then several sacred tree masters just wanted to approach the Ancient Buddha Guild, but they were completely separated by an entire terrain. This is the power of reincarnation. Nahi Bridge, the road to reincarnation and death. Our road was blocked by the Nahi Bridge, and we couldn't cross it at all. No, the power of reincarnation is essentially an illusion. We must find a way to break the illusion. Which monster is using illusion? I do not know. Where is the Divine Tree Master of the Investigation Department? Get in position immediately. Find the monster that casts the illusion of reincarnation. The scene became chaotic. That's right. The reincarnation fox and the little white fox hiding in the dark took action. The little white fox used the skill of Space Rift, and hid in a corner where no one could see it with the reincarnation fox, ready at any time. Take action. Under Lu Shu's instruction, Samsara Fox activated his pupil ability and directly blocked all the sacred tree masters who wanted to support Bald Donkey. At this time, the sacred tree masters on the field really I feel speechless. Why is this level so difficult? Either there are no monsters, and once a monster appears, the difficulty level will be hell mode. It is simply too torturous. And, the other party seems to know what the weaknesses of the sacred tree masters are, and what their intentions are. Whatever they are afraid of, come to them. Sheikah's face changed slightly, and he obviously did not expect such a change to happen on the field. At this moment, several light curtains flashed next to him. From the light curtain, countless reincarnation ferocious beasts rushed forward. The momentum made people feel trembling from the heart, as if an army of thousands of horses forged by a torrent of steel were straddling the ice, ready to step out at any time. The iron hooves that crushed everything trampled all the sacred tree masters into dust. However, Sakyamuni looked solemn and shouted angrily. Hey! The vast sound of heaven, the Buddha's Dharma is boundless. The phantom of the Buddha suddenly appeared in the sky. The supreme power was fully displayed. The phantom of the Buddha, with indifferent eyes, looked down on all living beings, suddenly turned his hands over, and a pair of giant hands like God suddenly looked towards. He looked at the ferocious beasts below and crushed them away. Sakyamuni's expression was silent, his eyes neither sad nor happy. With that palm, all the reincarnation monsters were instantly beaten to death. Amitabha. Sakyamuni shook his head gently, his eyes calm. It was like watching a group of ants being trampled to death by a giant. His expression remained calm and unmoved at all. However, in the eyes of other sacred tree masters, this scene made them. I couldn't help but my eyelids twitched. This bald donkey still had such a powerful trump card, and he actually asked them to go up. Let's let these monsters force the bald donkey to reveal more of his trump cards first. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 239. Shakya frowned slightly. This move may not be a good thing for the ancient Buddha guild. The most taboo thing for any big guild is to have a big tree that attracts wind. They have always maintained a low sense of existence, that's why they can develop so steadily. But now that he is forced to use his full strength and show such terrifying power, he may attract the attention of other sacred tree masters. World Public Screen. The scenes at the scene are also continuously transmitted to all the sacred tree masters in the form of memory videos for viewing. Damn it, are the members of the ancient Buddha guild so awesome? This Buddha's light that fills the sky is going to kill everything in an instant. No wonder people can get such a high ranking list. I have to accept it. Why do I feel that this abyss of reincarnation is so dangerous? These monsters are too powerful. They keep coming. Fortunately, I didn't go there. I can guarantee that no sacred tree master will be able to obtain the first kill reward of the super nightmare level copy this time. Yes, this monster is too scary, right? It is completely beyond the reach of humans. You should also pay attention to the ancient Buddha guild in the future. These bald donkeys look kind-hearted, but when they attack, they have the power to destroy the heaven and the earth. It is simply outrageous. Last time, there were a few bald donkeys who came to ask for help saying they were going to starve to death. I naively gave them a few bags of primary fertilizer. These dead bald donkeys were outrageous. They were so powerful, yet they even tried to deceive me. This beginner's primary fertilizer. Ding. Someone continued to upload memory videos. In the picture, a large number of sacred tree masters were trapped in the illusion of reincarnation and were unable to help the ancient Buddha guild. In fact, if these people are really determined to break through the illusion of reincarnation and try their best, a group of them will definitely be able to come out. After all, it was just a reincarnation fox sent by Lushu that released the illusion of reincarnation. Although the mental power is very strong, it is not practical to trap so many sacred tree masters at the same time. But, the strength shown by Sakyamuni made other sacred tree masters reluctant to help. This guild is already so powerful, but it still wants to help? Help me. Take care of yourself first. Anyway, we are in the illusion of reincarnation. We are just trapped, and there is no threat to our lives. We can still sit on the mountain and watch the fight between tigers and tigers. Some people are eager to get rid of the reincarnation monster, so that the ancient Buddha guild can weaken a large part of its strength, to increase the influence of its own guild. Sakyamuni chanted a Buddhist sound again. However, this time, the Buddha's voice uses the mighty power of the Buddha's Dharma to break through the false illusions and free these sacred tree masters who are trapped in the illusion of reincarnation in order to help themselves. As a result, after the Buddha's voice subsided, the people around him got a chance to wake up briefly. If in this case, you quickly get rid of the illusion, you can return to normal state. It's a pity, most of the sacred tree masters have defaulted to standing still. Pretending that Sakyamuni had never chanted the Buddha's voice at all, just watched quietly in the illusion. Shakya was so angry that he almost vomited blood. These damn guys. I spent 1/3 of my mental energy trying to help them free themselves from the shackles of illusion, but what did I get in exchange? Are they watching the game? I'm so angry. I thought that the most I would encounter would be a bunch of pig teammates, who would be a little bit of a bummer at worst, but I didn't expect that these are all actors. Shakya has the desire to kill people. At this time, thousands of beasts rushed towards Sakyamuni. Shakya didn't even have a chance to get angry. All his skills could only be thrown in the direction of the beast tide. By this time, the scene was basically Lushu's monster army unilaterally suppressing the divine tree master. If Fenjiun Guild were here, they might still be able to fight, but they would also be involved. The ancient Buddha Guild was isolated. Although Sien Chen Pavilion was very strong, the number of people was too small and they could not carry the banner. Moreover, the sacred tree masters here are at odds with each other, and at this critical moment of life and death, they are still thinking of plotting against each other. The situation suddenly became Lushu's advantage. Live footage of the memory video. The sacred tree masters suddenly understood Fenjiun Guild's previous approach. I thought Fenjiun Guild was all a bunch of cowards, but when I saw this scene, I felt I was wrong and I had to apologize to them. Have you noticed that no one from Wu Pavilion, which used to compete with the Dark Knight Alliance, appeared in the abyss of reincarnation this time? Sure enough, a reliable guild would not challenge such a copy that exceeds its own level. I have to say that Fenjiun Guild's decision-making ability is still very good. They have already been in the Abyss dungeon and conquered so many distances, but they still decisively chose to retreat. Their command ability is really too strong. I am already a fan. They're gone. Some guilds have reached such a high level of progress and then start to get ahead. They have to get enough benefits before going back, only to be wiped out by the group. I have seen this happen too many times. For a time, Fenjiun Guild didn't even expect that because of their timely departure, they would gain a group of fans. It's also absolutely amazing. However, when Fenyun and others saw this scene, they were a little lucky that they had made this decision. This time, I'm afraid no one will be able to pass this copy. Looking at the scenes in the video, Fenyun couldn't help but shook his head. If someone can really pass through this terrible copy, then it's really a ghost. If someone can really kill through this abyss of reincarnation, all he needs to do is come to Fenjiun Guild and give up his position as president. Other big guys sit next to him, but this big boss can sit on his head. You opened a diamond-level treasure chest. Get the Sword of Reincarnation. Collection progress, 75%. A panel prompt appeared in front of Lushu's eyes. Now, he is already in the abyss of reincarnation, at a very central position. There is one last diamond room left. Lu Shu murmured. There are only 3 diamond-level rooms in total. When you finish conquering the next room, you can completely unlock the complete reincarnation profession. Condensate the reincarnation pattern. Planting trees for all, 3 consecutive SSS-level talents at the beginning. Author, Immortal. Chapter 240. At this time, Lushu's ears suddenly echoed with several notification tones. Ding. You have obtained the Advanced Void Returning Fruit X1. Ding. You have obtained the Void Returning Technique Fruit X1. Ding. You have obtained the Blood Succession Limit Fruit X1. Ding. You have obtained Holy Spirit Growth Fruit X1. Is my fruit ripe? Lushu's mind moved slightly and he turned his attention to his true body. In the maze of the abyss of samsara, there was no light. After exploring so many places, he realized that he had already waited for the next fruit to mature without knowing it. Inside the island, Lu Shu stood up and looked in the direction of the sacred tree. On the tree, 4 crystal clear fruits grew out, shining with a dreamy luster. Good. Lu Shu nodded. Finally, the fruit was ripe. And after so many days of cultivation. At this time, the sacred tree had grown much more than before. The lush trees stood like a city. At the very center of the island. Like a giant, standing between heaven and earth. Looking at it, the huge sacred tree seems to hold up an umbrella that covers the sky and the sun. The golden branches and leaves blow by a breeze, emitting wow, the sound was like a wave. It was like the mysterious music in the forest. Lu Shu jumped lightly, and his body immediately rose into the air and came to the top of the sacred tree. From such a high place, overlooking the below, you can have a panoramic view of the entire island. A harmonious fairy scene. The army of plants stands in the coastal area, like an insurmountable defense line. From time to time, some peas and other plants are produced, and the sunflowers absorb a lot of sunshine nourishes the earth. On the other side of the island, there are dense spiritual grasses planted. The moon rabbits jump and wander among them, absorbing the pure white crystal spiritual energy and nourishing the growth of the spiritual grasses. All these spiritual grasses is used as Lu Shu's daily gourmet raw material, and is paired with a variety of high-quality ingredients to produce fresh braised pork, magnolia salad snacks, xiangsheng sago, and other delicacies that combine modern cooking techniques and spiritual herbs. When it was put on the auction house, it immediately caused a frantic rush by all the divine tree masters. In the field of gourmet food, Lu Shu basically monopolized all the market. In fact, many divine tree masters began to doubt that Lu Shu's is the fruit, the gift of food. However, can this kind of talent really achieve the first place in the rankings? It is really incredible. And on the other side of the island, in the fairy lake, a new fairy was born during this time. Every night, the sunflowers enter a state of rest, and the fairies begin to become active, absorbing the power of starlight and decorating the lake as if it were a dream. Very good. Lu Shu looked at the scene of his island and couldn't help but nodded, feeling extremely satisfied. It is already rare for the sacred tree island to develop to such a scale in such a short period of time. In addition to the fruits of the technique, the other 3 fruits were all buried in the soil. Soon, the spiritual energy fruit tree grew, and a related information panel appeared in front of Lu Shu. Advanced deficiency returning fruit tree. Variety, subspecies spirit tree. Product, deficiency returning fruit. Cycle, 0.5 days, 500/1000. Production times remaining, 1. Blood succession limit fruit tree. Variety, subspecies spirit tree. Product, deficiency return fruit. Period, 0.5 days, 500/1000. Production times remaining, 1. Holy Spirit growth fruit tree. Variety, subspecies spirit tree. Product, return to deficiency fruit. Cycle, 0.5 days, 500/1000. Production times remaining, 1. There's still half a day left. During this period, Lu Shu was not idle. He threw the fruit of the void returning technique into his mouth. Recently, his practice has fallen into a bottleneck period. However, after swallowing the fruit of the void returning technique, Lu Shu's recent insights have gained new insights and sublimations. He feels that some kind of shackles in his body are gradually loosening. All he needs is an opportunity to break through to a higher realm. Even, during this period, the precipitation took a little longer than I thought. If I can break through again, maybe something unexpected will happen. I just need to wait until my advanced void returning fruit is completely mature, and that will be my chance to make a breakthrough. Lu Shu secretly said. Half a day seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. At this time, the weather on the sacred tree island has arrived in the evening. It's the season of crisp autumn air. A cool breeze whistled from the west of the island. The autumn mood was getting stronger and the weather became a little cooler. The fresh sea breeze blew towards Lu Shu's face along the west wind. The sound of ripening fruit seemed to be heard in the evening wind. With the blessing of 100-fold increase, all subspecies of Lu Shu's spiritual trees have reached maturity. Reminders rang in my ears. Ding! Your advanced deficiency-reducing fruit tree has reached the production cycle, and the deficiency-reducing fruit add 100. Ding! Your blood succession limit fruit tree has reached the production cycle, and the void return fruit add 100. Ding! Your Holy Spirit growth fruit tree has reached the production cycle, and the void return fruit add 100. Take the deficiency-reducing fruit first. Lu Shu picked out 100 high-level void-returning fruits. However, he was not in a hurry to swallow them. Don't forget, there is another very important step, synthesis. White lights flashed one after another. Start. With the skill of synthesis, Lu Shu merged all of these 100 high-grade void-returning fruits into the best quality void-returning fruits. Just take them all. Lu Shu felt that his state was at a time when he needed a breakthrough. He did not hesitate and swallowed all the void-returning fruits at once. It was Dao Wen who gave him enough confidence. That's right. Having condensed 6 kinds of Taoist patterns, Lu Shu's current cultivation bottleneck period is relatively not that big. It can support him to make a breakthrough in the fastest way. All 10 top-level void-returning fruits are consumed, in the next second. Lu Shu felt an incomparably pure and majestic power emerging from his body.